Okay, we are live right now. Yeah, nice. So this is the weekly sculpting challenge on the Discord, and I'm going to be sculpting mine live here in the next few hours. Let's see how that goes. Alright, so as usual, we're going to start off with the block out of this character. So let's block out the face. I'm going to pull down the jaw of this character. Okay, and also from the side view too, you want something like this. Nice. Now that we have this, I'm going to go to the side and I'm going to slice the head from the side. I'm going to use the line project brush and just slice the head from the side, something like this. Hello Renderverse, how you doing? Okay, so we have this, and I'm going to focus on the side a little bit more. I'm going to mark out the separation between the jaw and the cranium. Just like this, and I'm just going to pull up this cranium right here. I'm going to smooth this side out so that the neck starts to bend and merge with the head, with the neck, sorry. And let me just confirm that I am actually live right now.
Fallout Season 2.
Okay, yeah, I think I'm live. Alright. And let's go ahead. I'm going to smooth out this side of the head. And I'll make this separation come all the way to the side of the face, something like that. And I'm going to define the jaw of the character a little bit more. So right here, this character has a really angular or like straight jaw, so I'm just going to use the grab brush to pull this back, something like that, so that looks good from the side view. And then from the front view, I think we need to push this in a little bit more, and I'm just going to define the shape of the jaw right here. Okay, something like that. I think this face should be a little bit more narrower, something like that. And I'll start to indicate the cheeks on this a little bit. I'll bring this part in, something like that. Alright, so this is the block out for the head. Okay, that looks good. I'm just going to plane out the side of the head just a little bit. Yeah, something like that. And then let me go ahead and block out the neck. I'll add in another round cube, scale this right here, and you can select this half, extrude it down, and I'm going to place this right here. Something like that. I'll just select this part, scale it down a little bit. I'll add in a loop cut here and scale this down. That looks good. And then I'll add in some more loop cuts here. Alright, and we can now go into sculpt mode and we can further refine the shape of the neck. I'm going to pull this out and also pull this back, and I'll make sure that this merges nicely into the back of the head, and also at the front right here. I'll just bring this back so that this merges nicely into the neck. Alright, I'm going to work on this from the front view a little bit more. I'm going to pull out the shoulders, something like that looks good, and I'll make sure to refine the shape of the neck just like this. I'll use the line project brush and I'll just slice off this part of the neck. Alright, something like that looks good. And I'm going to define the shape of this face a little bit more from the side and also from the front, just making sure that we have a very nice blockout before moving forward. And I'm just going to elongate this face a little bit more because that's going to fit this character. Alright, something like that. And I'm going to go ahead and block out the ears right now. The ears of this character are actually quite big, quite large, so I'm going to add in another round cube. I'm going to go into edit mode, scale this down, bring this here, and then in sculpt mode I'm going to use the line project brush to slice this, and I'm also going to slice this just like that. And then I'm going to sculpt a very simple ear shape, something like this. Alright, this is going to be good enough for the ears for now. I'll symmetrize this over to the other side. Okay, and I'm going to rotate the ear facing backwards. Something like this, and I'll refine the shape of the ear, what that looks from the side and also what that looks from the front view. So something like this looks good. Right, that looks good for the ear. I think I'm going to make the neck a lot longer just to fit the concept a little bit more. Yeah, something like this. Now also pull out the shoulders just a little bit more. Alright, from the side profile, let me see how this is looking. I can start making the neck merge nicely with the head. So right here. Alright, and this is the much we can do with this resolution of this blockout. So at this point I'm going to increase my remesh resolution, and I'll start sculpting the planes of the head. So go into sculpt mode, and they're going to increase the remesh resolution. Alright, once you've done that, I'm just going to smooth over everything. I'll use the crease polish brush to just mark out this part right here. And now I'm going to define the jaw of the character a little bit more. I'm also going to define the cheekbones on this character. So I'm going to do that by sculpting the planes of the head. So I'm going to use the script brush, and I'm just going to plane out the side of the head. Okay, something like that. For the jaw, I'm also just going to plane out this part right here, and also this part at the back, and the surface of the cheek right here. Something like that. To define this even more, we can use the crease polish brush, hold down Control, and actually mark out the shape of the jaw. And I'm going to define what the shape looks like a lot more. From the side you can see how like it's rounded. We don't want that, we want this to be much more sharper. I'm just going to use the grab brush to pull that into place, and you can actually just go from behind and pull this out. something like this. Okay, so I'm just going to plane out the side of the face a little bit more. All right, I'll mark out the chin for this character right here, and I'll use the grab brush to also pull out the chin. Okay, and I'm just going to plane out this side here, and I'm going to define the jaw a lot more on this character. And I really want to define the jaw on this character because that's the unique part of this character, so I'll just make sure to get that right. Excited to see the outcome. Yeah, I am excited for the outcome too. I don't know what the final thing look like. Hopefully it looks like the concepts. Well, let's see. Alright, and at this point, let me just define the back of the head just a little bit more. Okay, and now I'm going to mark out the eyeline for this character so that we can actually start placing the facial features. So okay, just before I do that, just going to bring this in, find the shape of the jaw from the front view. All right, something like that. And to find the eyeline, you just need to go from the top of the head to the bottom of the head. If you draw a straight line, the halfway point should be where the eyeline would be. So somewhere around there, that's where the eyeline would be. So let me just clean this out. I'm going to use the crease polish brush. I'm just going to mark out the eyeline. Just a straight line going across the face, and I'll stop it somewhere around here. Okay, nice. I'm going to smooth out this area right here. Okay, and we start to get the brow line for this character. That's nice. I'm just going to smooth out this part of the face right here. The nose is going to sit right here. Okay, and to make sure that the face has like depth to it, I'm going to just push in where the eye is actually going to sit. So I'm just using the grab brush and I'm just pushing this in just like that. So the nose is going to sit right here on this character, just like that, and the mouth will be right here. So that is looking nice. I'm going to bring the chin back a little bit. Alright, I'm just going to go over the eyeline once again. Hello V Square laptop, how you doing? I'm just going to go over the eyeline, smooth this out, and I'm also going to mark out the eyebrows or the brow line. So just something like this. I'll define the side of the face again with the script brush. Something like that, and I want to define the shape of this chin a little bit more. I'm going to bring this in, and I'll also bring this in just like that. All right, now I want to define the cheekbone for this character, so I'm just going to use the grab brush. I'm going to start pulling this out. You can see how defined it is on our concepts. So I'm just going to pull this out. I'll make sure I'm not moving the eyebrow line out or the eyeline out too much. Just going to bring this out, something like this, and I can also just push back the brow line actually. Okay, something like that. And for the cheekbone, I'm just going to raise this higher up a little bit more. Okay. Something like that. I'm going to use the crease polish brush to mark out the eyeline once again. And at this point, I'm just making sure I have the planes of the head in place. So this is what the planes look like for now. Nice. Let me just add some more resolution to the neck also. To bring up the remesh, and I'm going to add some resolution here, and I'm just going to smooth over everything. Okay. Alright, that looks nice for the neck. I'm going to go ahead now and start adding the eyes on this character. And before I do that, let me just actually add in the nose. Add in a round Q right here. Scale this down, bring this about somewhere around here. Exit to scale this up, and I'm just going to rotate this and place this right here. Alright, let's go into sculpt mode, and then let's refine the shape of this nose. I'm going to define the tip of the nose. Something like that, and then I'm going to bring this out for the nostrils, and then I'm going to take this part in. I can actually smooth that out. Okay, something like that looks good from the side view. And I'm just checking other references to see what this character is meant to look like from the side view. Okay, something like that looks good. I'm going to just smooth out this part right here. Okay, nice. That looks good for the nose and the rest of the face. Okay, I'm going to add some more resolution to this. Control R to remesh. And then I'm going to add in the nostrils. I'm going to use the draw brush. I'm just going to draw this out. And I'm going to pull up this nostril here. Okay, now we have something that looks like this. I'm going to define the planes on the nose too. I'm just going to smooth out this part of the nose. Now also define this part of the nose too. Yeah, something just like this. I'm going to reduce the size of the head a little bit. I think it's too big right now. Okay, something like that. And on the face right here, I'm just going to start planning out where the mouth is going to be. So somewhere around here, that's where the mouth is going to be. Nice. Something like this looks good for the nose. Alright, I see a question. I just joined and I saw that you increase the mesh resolution. Why do we do that in sculpting? Oh, so we increase the mesh resolution to get more resolution so that we can actually sculpt. So like doing stuff like this, like see the way I'm holding down control with the crease polish brush, and I'm able to get these finer details. If we didn't have enough resolution, let's say this was what our mesh looked like, we are not going to be able to get those fine details. So we are just increasing the mesh resolution so that we can add finer details. So that's why we increase the mesh resolution. Alright, so this looks good for the base of the blockouts. I'm going to adjust the shape of the neck a little bit more. Something like this. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and let's actually start sculpting more of the face. I'm going to bring this eyebrow line up just a little bit more. And maybe I'll bring the cheeks back in a little bit more. Okay, the shortcut for the remesh is R. Let me actually turn on screencast keys here. R, that's the shortcut. R is the shortcut to bring up this grid. And then once you're happy with the resolution, you press Ctrl R to remesh the sculpt. Alright, I'm going to go ahead and start adding the eyes. So I'm going to add in a sphere, and I'm going to rotate this on the x-axis by 90 degrees. I'll go from the side view, and I'm just going to place it on the eye line that we created earlier. I'm going to mirror this over to the other side. something like this, and I'm just going to shade this smooth. Okay, so these are going to be the eyes, and I'm just planning out the areas where the eyes are actually going to sit, something like that. I'll go back into sculpt mode for the head, and I'm just going to bring this back like so. Yeah, that looks like a nice spot for the eyes. Now we can start sculpting the eyelids for this character. Okay, I'm a character designer and I recently started sculpting. I found your channel and I watch your videos so many times. Yeah, that's nice. You need to practice sculpting so many times. So yeah, it's good to watch the videos so many times so that you can actually practice sculpting. That's nice. Alright. This is currently what we have. And yeah, I like the way this looks right now. I'm going to increase the mesh resolution once again, and we're going to go ahead and start sculpting the eyelids. I'm going to increase the mesh resolution with R, somewhere around there should be fine. Control R to remesh, and I'm just going to smooth over everything first of all. Okay, so that we have a clean base, and I'm going to use the draw brush and let's draw out the eyelids. The eyelids are actually very simple to do. I'm just going to mark out the eyelids this way, and this character has like a lot of eyelid so we're just going to use the draw brush to keep on drawing over this. I keep on drawing over it, I keep on drawing over it, and just keep on drawing over it. So something like that. I'm going to smooth this out, and I'll just keep on drawing over those parts right there. And once you get somewhere like this, we can use the lasso mask brush. I'm going to mask out these parts right here. And then I'm going to also mask out this part right here so that we don't move out that bottom part. Alright, and I'm just going to use the grab brush to actually pull these eyelids into place. I'm going to use the crease polish brush to mark out the edge of the eyelid. Something that looks like that. I'm going to use the grab brush and I'm just going to pull this in. And Alt M to clear the mask. And now I'm going to refine the shape of the upper eyelid here. So I'm just going to start pulling this into place. Okay, that's starting to look good. I'm going to use the crease polish brush and I'm going to mark out that upper eyelid. Just like that. I'm going to use the grab brush and pull this into place. And I'll just mark out the crease polish. I'll mark out the eyebrows with the crease polish brush once again. right, something like that. Another question: is it difficult to make rigging to our detailed sculpted characters? Yes, if you don't retopologize the model, to rig a sculpt like this might be too expensive on your computer, so it's not always a good idea to rig a sculpted character. You want to go through the process of retopology first before you can actually rig your sculpted character. So yeah, that's what you need to keep in mind. If you don't know what retopology is, just search my YouTube channel. I have a video explaining that, and yeah, you should get everything you need there. Okay, and I'm going to start marking out the eyebrows, yeah, so that we can start to get some expression on this face. So I'm going for this one right here. And I'm just going to adjust the shape of the eyelids. Nice. Also just going to clean out this part here. And let's make the lower eyelids for this character. I'm going to use the exact same steps I used for this, for the upper eyelid, and let's go ahead and draw the lower eyelids too. Okay, and then we can go ahead and shape the lower eyelid too. Hello Raphael, what's up? Long time no see. Okay, and do you have a Discord group I can join? Yes, below this video you're going to be able to join the Discord server, and if you feel confident, you can definitely like join the weekly sculpting challenge that we have this week. So this is the sculpting challenge, so you can follow along in this tutorial and participate in this week's sculpting challenge. Okay, I'm going to mark out the lower eyelid, and I'm going to use the sculpt brushes or the grab brush to just pull this into shape. Hey, that looks good. I'm going to increase the remesh resolution and remesh this font again. Now we can actually now go in and refine the edges of the eyelids. Okay, your country's flag is not there. I'm going to add that immediately after this stream. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I thought I added all the countries, but I'm going to go ahead and do that. Okay, you can just react. Yeah, react on the server with your country's flag. If you just react, then it's going to pop up there on the Discord server. Alright, you're welcome to the Discord server. You can always feel free to ask any questions that you may have about sculpting or making 3D characters right there on the server. Okay, nice. Now I'm going to go ahead and merge the nose and the face. So let's go ahead and do that. Ctrl G to join those together, and increase the remesh resolution. Ctrl R to remesh those together. Nice. And then I'm going to use the clay sheet brush to add some volume here, so that we can start smoothing out the transitions between these. So just like this, we're going to smooth out the transitions right here. Add some more volume and make sure that the nose transition nicely into the face. Also up here too. Nice. I'm going to pull this nose back, the nostrils back a little bit more, just to give some shape to the nose. And I'm also just going to pull this up a little bit more. Okay, I'm going to add in the eyebrows and the eyelashes, and we're going to start adding in some colors too. So I'll just switch these two attributes. I'll go into the edit mode, and I'll just select some vertices for the eyes. I'm going to go into vertex paints, make sure face selection is turned on, then we can just pin this in. I'm going to uncheck specular lighting. So this new option actually came in Blender 5.0. I don't actually like the way it looks, so I'm just going to turn that off. I'm going to remove the mirror modifier, Shift D, or actually Alt D to duplicate this eye. I'm going to set my pivot point to the 3D cursor, Ctrl M and X to move this to the other side. And now I'm going to set my pivot point to the individual origins, and now we can rotate this eye to just look in the direction our concept is also looking. I'm also going to change here to attributes, and I'll turn off specular lighting. Okay, something like this. And now I'm going to go ahead and refine the sculpt. Okay, and we can bring this closer to each other. I'll just use the max brush here. I'm going to bring this closer to this one, and Ctrl I. I'm just going to bring this one closer to this one. Nice. That looks good. Alt M to clear the mask. I'm going to add in eyebrows and eyelashes right now. RX and 90 to rotate this on the x-axis by 90 degrees. I'll scale this down, and I'll turn on the face project. Make sure to turn on snapping, and I'm just going to place this right here. I'm going to extrude this along the eyebrow line that we already created out. Something like this. Add in one more loop cut here. Select this, and you can scale this down. Okay, I'm going to add a mirror modifier and a solidify modifier. I'll increase the solidify modifier thickness and shade this smooth. Okay, and I'll just use the sculpt brushes to sculpt this into place. Something like this. I'm also going to vertex paint mode, and I'm just going to paint this black. Okay, I'll go back into sculpt mode, and I'll just keep refining the shape of the eyebrows until I have something that looks nice. Okay, it's starting to look okay. I'm going to also model in the eyelashes. And once you have the eyelashes in place, you should start seeing how this character is going to look. I'm going to hide the eyes with it, then we can rotate this. And I'm just going to fill that in. Something like that. I'll shade this smooth, and I'm just going to color in these eyes also, the eyelashes. I'll unhide the eyes, and I'm going to go into sculpt mode, and I'll further refine the shape of these eyelids. Okay, something like this starting to look nice. Now let me just go ahead and sculpt the mouth. Before I do that, I'll refine the shape of the jaw. And yeah, let's sculpt in the mouth. I'm going to use the crease polish brush. I'll mark out the corners of the mouth right here. I think that's too far out, somewhere around here. And I'm just going to draw a straight line like so. And mouth is actually very simple to do. Before I start sculpting the lips, I'm just going to pull back the corners of the mouth using the grab brush. I'm just going to pull this back a little bit more. Okay, and I'll probably just bring it up. Yeah, something like that. All right, nice. Now I'm going to use the crease polish brush, and I'll just sharpen the jaw line a little bit more. I can also use the script brush to just plane out the side of the face. Yeah, something like that. This is starting to look good. And then I'm going to sculpting the lips for this character. For the lips is very easy to do. I'm going to use the inflate brush for the lower lips. I'm just going to inflate the lips out so we start getting an indication of the lips. Then we can just smooth out these areas right here. Then I'll use the crease polish brush to just mark out the shape of the lips. Something like that. I think I'll make this much bigger. Something like that looks good. And then I'm also going to define the shape on the lips. And I'm going to use the crease polish brush to just mark out the shapes on the upper lips too. And yeah, that starts to look nice already. So sculpting the lips is actually very simple to do. And now I'm just going to refine the shapes around the mouth and the lips. Okay. Alright. Something like that definitely looks good. And I'll just go ahead. We've left the ear behind a little bit too much, so let me just go ahead and sculpt the shapes on the ears. Before I do that, I'm just going to refine the shapes on the head a little bit more, something like that. Alright, and I'll add some resolution to the ears. And we can start sculpting the shapes of the ear. I'm going to use the lasso marks brush to make a selection like this. Okay, something like that. I'm going to deselect this other side. Control I to invert this mask, and I'm just going to pull this part of the ear in. Something like that. I'll clear the mask. I'll remesh this again. Control R. And now I'm going to refine the shape of the ear. So I'm just going to go in with the crease polish brush to mark out this area of the ear. And we can also refine the shape of this ear. Okay, and I'll adjust the final shape of the ear. Something like that. And here, something like that looks good. Okay, nice. Now let's see, we can add and join these two together. Actually, before we do that, I'm going to just try posing this head first of all. And I'm going to go to edit, preferences, the navigations. I'm going to change this to trackball for now, just so that we can position this in a slightly different way. Okay, I'm going to rotate this and pull it back. Something like that. And the neck is no longer asymmetrical, so I'm just going to go into sculpt mode, turn off symmetry, and I'm just going to push this into the right spots. Okay, I think I'm going to rotate that even a bit more, or we can try rotating the neck. And these eyes, I'm going to select these, and I'm just going to rotate them out, something like that. I'll add in a eye highlight here, shift D to duplicate this, Alt S to bring it out. So I'll add in a loop cut right here, select this one and move it down, select this one, move it down. I'll delete this geometry right here, and I'll go into vertex selection mode, and I'll just pin this as white, just so that we have some highlights on the eyes. Something like that. And something like that looks good. I'm going to duplicate this. Actually, I'm going to separate this by selection. I'm going to duplicate this for the other eye. Okay, I'm going to select this and also move it right here. Alright, and now I'm going to start exaggerating the eyebrows a little bit more, so that we can start to get some expression in the face. I'm also going to start exaggerating the shape of the lips. And I'm going to bring the cheek in a lot more. Okay, and now we start to have something that looks like this, not looking too bad. I'm going to adjust the shape of the jaw. And I'm going to sharpen the cheek area a little bit more so that we have a really nice shape for the cheek. And I'm just going to add some volume right here and smooth this out. Okay, starting to look nice. I'm going to further adjust the shape of the nose. Let's see, a little bit more. Something like that. And right here, I'll bring this part in a little bit more. I'll define the area on the nose. Yeah, something like that. And I'll also bring this in. Alright, this is looking nice. And I'll just isolate just the head, and let me just refine the shape around the eyes and the mouth and the nose. So I'm just going in, making sure that the edges look nice so that we have good edge quality. Okay. And I'm just going to smooth out this right here. And I want to narrow the shape of this chin a little bit more, something like that. Alright, that looks good. Shift T, I'm going to clean out the bottom right here. And I'll try to make this chin right here not too masculine. So I'm just going to smooth out the shapes from there, something like that. All right. Nice. This is looking good. And so far, we've been here for about an hour and only worked on the face. So I'm just going to go ahead, work on the hair a little bit, and we should be done for this character. So to work on the hair, okay, before I actually do that, I'm going to merge the ear and the head together. Okay, I'm going to select this, merge them together, Ctrl G, and I'm going to remesh them together. And now let us use the clay shoes brush to just smooth this out. Alright, and like the way this is looking, and just before I go ahead, I'm just going to add just a little bit of color to this character. I use the paint brush and I'll just add in a slight, make this part a little bit of a different color. Something like that. Okay, and I think, yeah, we need to raise these eyebrows up a lot more. Something like that. It's good. Okay, nice. Let me refine the shape on the lips with the crease polish brush. Just like that. Yeah, something like that looks good. And I'll go ahead and also just paint in the lips a little bit. All right, it's looking nice for our character. And let's go ahead and sculpting the hair, and then we should be done. Okay, hello Luno. Hi Kenny. Just wanted to thank you so much for all the sculpting tutorials on YouTube. Legit the best resource for learning and getting great looking models in the end, all for free. Yeah, more to come. Actually, like more to come. I'm working on a full like free character creation course. Like I'll show you guys the whole process from start to finish. So that's coming soon. I've already started to work on it. So yeah, more to come, definitely. And I appreciate it. I enjoy making this video, so I'm going to keep on making these videos. The course I mentioned is going to be like a 30-hour course. It's going to be free on YouTube here. So I've currently started working on that. And yeah, more videos will keep on coming. That the course should drop like in the next few months. I can't see when, but yeah, soon it's coming. Yeah, so you will definitely love that one too. All right, now let's sculpt the let's sculpt the hair. Yeah, lasso marks. I'm going to just determine where I want the hair to be. Okay, I'll turn off front faces only. I'll select these, deselect these ones. Alright, select these, just turn this off on for now. Okay, and I'm going to select here and just make a nice selection for the hair, and then we are going to be able to extract this selection and sculpt the hair. Okay, I'll actually just use the max brush. I'm just going to mask out this selection or make a selection with the max brush. Something like this. And just take a look at it from this other viewport to see what that looks like. This selection should work for the hair. Something like this. And now I'm just going to mask. Actually, before I extract the mask, I'm going to sharpen the mask. Sharpen. Okay, nice. Mask, and then max extract, then extract this. Okay, let us bring the offset to 0, and I'll just increase the thickness, something like that. And yeah, let's get started with sculpting the hair right now. going to pull this in, something like that. And I'm just going to remesh this. I'll go with a lower remesh value for now. Control R to remesh that, and let's just smooth out this part of the hair so that it's not too sharp. I'm going to use the script brush to just clean this out. Okay, something like this looks good. And now let's start adding some direction to the hair, and I'm just going to use the clay straight brush for this. Just start adding some direction in the hair so that the hair starts to make sense a little bit. I'm going to increase the remesh resolution. Nope. Alright, and something like this is good for the hair. I'm going to bring this in. Yeah, something like that. Starting to look good for the hair. And for the bottom part of the hair right here, I'm just going to use the grab brush, and I'm going to inflate this part of the hair. Yeah, something like that. I'll increase, I'm just going to remesh this again, and then we can add some direction to this. The clay straight brush. Nice. We can even use the crease polish brush and actually add more details on the hair. Actually, let me use the draw sharp brush for this. Yeah. Okay, something like that. I'm going to adjust the shape of the eyelids, sorry, of the eyebrows. Okay, I see a question. Bro, if you sell your read character, how much would you sell it in USD? I don't know. It depends on the character. I have a CG Trader store. I don't have any links to it in the description, but if you find it, you can find it on CG Trader if you search for my name, and then you should find some of my models there. But I think it's just like one of them. I don't usually sell any of my models, so I I don't really know if or how much I'm going to sell it. So yeah. So this is the hair. Okay, and now let's add, okay, let's add this, whatever this is. Let's just use very simple modeling to model that. I'm going to add in a cube, and let's just model that in. Scale this down. So something like this. Okay, I also need to keep in mind that the let me just add in a mirror modifier here. So the head is rotated a little bit, so I have to just keep that in mind. And I can actually copy the rotation, yeah, and I'll just bring this, and also let me just copy the location. And you see, copy location, yeah, nice. Okay, we need to bring this down a little bit more. Bring these parts out. Okay, and yeah, that looks good for this object. Yeah, I'm not going to spend so much time on that. Alright, let me just take a look at this from the side. Maybe I'm going to pull this back, bring this forward a little bit more. Something more like that. Alright, and now this is looking good. And one more thing before we go, I'm just going to use the line, not the line project, the grease pencil strokes. I'm going to add in a blank one. I'm going to draw mode, change this to surface, and I'm just going to choose a color right here, and I'll just add in some grease pencil lines to enhance what this course looks like. I'm going to use the ink pen. I reduce the size. And I'll just add in some details, sculpt. Some details around the ear. Some details around the jaw. Something like that. Some detail around the nose. I'm gonna add, yeah, something like that. also adding some details on the hair. Something like that. I'll get rid of this one. Okay, and let me just add this on the neck. Probably I should add that with like actual modeling. So I'm going to refine the sculpt, and I'm going to upload the final sculpt to the Discord server. So if you want to see this final sculpt, just make sure to join the Discord server, and there you'll be able to see the final sculpt. I'll refine it a lot more, adding some of these details. So we have been here for about an hour and 20 minutes, and yeah, I'm going to see you guys on the next live stream. Yeah, cheers.